If you ever hike deep into the Appalachian woods, past the marked trails, beyond the buzzing of cell phones and the hum of civilization, you may feel it. A shift in the air, a silence so thick it presses against your chest. Locals call it Devil's Hollow, a cursed stretch of forest where time moves differently, and some who enter never come back. It sounds like a folktale, a campfire story to scare city folks. But in the summer of 2017, two best friends, Anna Loudon and Grace Mendez, stepped into that part of the forest and were never seen again. They were not careless. They were not reckless. They were experienced hikers, nature lovers, full of joy and curiosity. And yet, the forest swallowed them whole. What followed was a trail of fragmented clues, strange photographs, missing hours, and a silence from law enforcement that still raises eyebrows. Some say they got lost. Some believe they were taken. But after listening to the tapes, examining the evidence, and speaking to the people who knew them, I'm not so sure it's that simple. This is a story about the disappearance of two women in one of America's most haunted forests, but it's also about something deeper: the dangers we ignore, the secrets nature keeps, and the line between tragic accident and something far darker. Join me as we retrace their final steps through mossy paths and abandoned shacks, searching not just for answers, but for the truth behind the vanishing on Devil's Hollow. Anna and Grace had known each other since elementary school. They grew up in rural Virginia, neighbors, teammates, soul sisters. Anna was quiet, thoughtful, the kind of person who noticed the little things: a flower blooming through asphalt, the shape of clouds. She had just turned 27, a freelance photographer hoping to publish her first nature photo book. Grace, 28, was fire and energy, an aspiring writer, deeply drawn to the mysteries of the world. She had a tattoo on her wrist that read, "Wander without fear." It was her mantra. In the spring of 2017, they both hit a breaking point with city life. Long hours, noise, the digital clutter, it all became too much. So they planned a retreat, a 10-day hike along a secluded stretch of the Appalachian Trail, far from crowds and close to something real. Their destination? An offbeat spot called Devil's Hollow, a place that had barely any mention in official hiking guides, but was whispered about in online forums. Famous for its beauty and its danger. They told friends it would be a creative reset. They packed light, camera, journals, solar chargers, food for a week. Anna even messaged her sister the night before. "This place looks magical. Can't wait to shoot it all." That was the last anyone ever heard from her. On July 2nd, they left their cabin rental just after dawn. What they didn't know was this: no one had successfully hiked through Devil's Hollow in over a decade. The first 2 days were documented in photos: smiling selfies, dense trees, a fox on a trail. But then, silence. No posts, no calls, just vanishing. They brought in search and rescue teams the next day. Dogs, drones, helicopters. But the forest was uncooperative. The canopy was too thick for aerial sweeps. The terrain was slick and steep. And the deeper you went, the stranger things became. Rescuers reported hearing things: whispers, movement. Radios that worked fine at base camp fizzled out once they crossed a certain threshold. More than one searcher claimed to have seen figures, far off, standing still among the trees, always just out of reach, always silent. After 48 hours, one of the dogs refused to go further down a narrow ridge trail, whining, tail tucked. That's when they found something else. Anna's camera bag torn open, memory card missing. The rest, her lenses, tripod, even the waterproof pouch, had been stacked deliberately at the base of a tree, almost like an offering. And just above it, carved into the bark, barely legible, "Run!" Back at town, Grace's sister Emily arrived from Atlanta. She begged the sheriff to escalate the investigation, asked if foul play was considered, but the sheriff's response was cold. "Most likely disoriented, maybe a fall. Nature's not always gentle, ma'am." But Emily knew her sister. Grace wouldn't leave her inhaler. She wouldn't leave that note unless she truly believed. Someone was watching. 2 weeks after the disappearance, a breakthrough. A hiker named Carl Stratham stumbled across something just off an old fire road, far from the official search perimeter. A battered solar charger wrapped in a green scarf. Underneath it, a phone, still functional, passcode protected. Carl turned it in immediately. The sheriff's office didn't say much at first, but Emily pressed, demanded access. When they finally shared the contents, the family was shaken. There were photos, over 100 of them. The first dozen, joyful, forest paths, ferns, Grace laughing with her boots kicked up, Anna adjusting her tripod by a stream. But then, they changed. Photos taken at night, dozens of them, flash after flash, illuminating nothing. Trees, dirt, branches, once or twice what looked like shapes. Human, hard to say, blurry, distorted. One showed Anna's face, pale and strained, eyes red from crying. Another, perhaps the most disturbing, captured Grace crouched behind a rock, wide-eyed, holding her finger to her lips as if to say, shh. The timestamp on that photo was 3:12 a.m., July 4th, the very night they should have been back. One last video, no more than 6 seconds long, showed the lens pointed up at the treetops, wind howling, leaves spiraling past. Then a sound, not wind, not animal. A low voice, impossibly close, whispering something that, even after audio enhancement, no one can quite agree on. Some say it said, "It sees you." Others hear, "Go back." But it was too late for that. They never found the bodies. Despite months of search efforts, private investigators, and even spiritual mediums brought in by desperate family members, Anna Loudon and Grace Mendez, were never seen again. Not a trace, only fragments, only whispers. The trail camera footage, found weeks later on a tree near Devil's Hollow, did little to help. It showed nothing but a dense, still forest. But in one frame, a silhouette, blurry, human-shaped, barefoot, facing the camera, unmoving, staring, for 2 hours. No one came forward. No one was identified. It was chalked up to a false positive, a glitch. But people in the nearby towns, they talk. They talk about how, since the girls vanished, hikers hear voices in the trees. Sometimes laughter, sometimes crying. One woman swore she saw 2 figures by the stream at dusk, one tall with a camera, the other crouched low, finger to lips, whispering, "Shh." Of course, there's no evidence. There never is. Just the forest, just the silence, just the knowing. Anna and Grace's families held a memorial on the 1-year anniversary of their disappearance. No bodies to bury, just 2 white stones placed at the edge of the trail. Carved into them were the words, "We were here, we mattered." And that's the part that haunts me. Not the mystery, not even the fear. It's the quiet, the awful, deafening quiet of how easy it is to disappear in this world, to scream and for no one to hear you, to matter and still be forgotten by the systems we trust to protect us. Because what if the warning signs were there all along? What if that one missing map entry, that one delayed search call, that one ignored message, that was the difference between life and death? This wasn't just a story about 2 girls getting lost in the woods. It was about the thin line between curiosity and danger, between wonder and blindness, between the trail you meant to take and the one you never come back from. So if you ever find yourself standing at the edge of a place like Devil's Hollow, and you feel the air change, and the wind carries voices you shouldn't be able to hear, don't go further, don't be brave, because the forest remembers, and sometimes it keeps what it finds.